What is up, guys? Today I found a horror movie that actually scared me. It is the new 2019 release called Polaroid. It has an online rating of 5.7. Some viewers noticed that the three letters RJS carved into the camera in the movie match the initials of a real American serial killer from 1974. Some viewers noticed that the three letters RJS carved into the camera in the movie match the initials of a real American serial killer from 1974. Some viewers noticed that the three letters RJS carved into the camera in the movie match the initials of a real American serial killer from 1974. Let's dive into the story. Bird is a college girl who loves photography. She occasionally takes candid photos of cute guys. She also works part-time at an antique shop. One day at work, her coworker Tyler buys her a gift for covering his shift. Bird takes a look and sees an old vintage camera. It has three English letters carved into the body. Bird absolutely loves it because this camera is super rare and was discontinued in the last century. To test if the camera works, Bird snaps a photo of Tyler. While they wait for the photo to develop, Tyler actually tries to sneak a kiss on Bird. Bird feels super awkward right away. She grabs her clothes and the camera and leaves. But she forgets her camera bag, so Tyler tries to call out to her, but she is already gone. Bird gets home and starts playing around with the camera. She wants to take a picture of her dog, but the dog seems really scared. Just as Bird is about to press the shutter, her good friend Casey comes over. It turns out Casey is here to invite Bird to a party tonight. Bird initially does not want to go, but immediately agrees when she hears her crush will be there. That night, they arrive on time to pick Bird up. Bird and Casey sit in the back. A couple sits in the front. We will call them Devin and Mina. Right as they are about to leave, Bird picks up Tyler's photo and notices an extra shadow on it. Bird thinks it is just a film defect and brushes it off. Then they head out. Meanwhile, Tyler is working and sees a shadow appear on the curtain. He thinks the machine is dirty and wipes it down, but the shadow is still there. He grabs a hammer and walks over. When he pulls the curtain back, he finds nothing behind it. Tyler finally sighs in relief. Just as Tyler is about to leave, he suddenly feels something behind him. A monster lunges at him. Tyler's screams echo through the room. Meanwhile, Bird and the others arrive at their destination. Bird is introverted and stands alone in a corner spacing out. But she notices a person dressed as the Grim Reaper staring right at her. Bird gets a little scared and heads up to the second floor. As soon as she reaches the second floor, the weird guy follows her up. He greets Bird first and then takes off his mask. It turns out this guy is Bird's crush. They chat, and she finds out his name is Connor, and he is also invited to the party. Then Connor notices the camera, so Bird tells him where it came from. Just then, Devin and Mina find them. Today is their 1-year anniversary, so they want everyone to take a group photo. They originally want to use a phone, but Bird says she brought her camera. Then Bird gets the camera ready to take the picture. Casey squeezes in at the last second, but Bird instantly sees a dark shadow. She feels really surprised, but there is no shadow on the photo. Bird thinks she is just seeing things and brushes it off. After they leave, Bird's classmate Avery picks up the camera. Avery snaps a selfie without a second thought. While they are chatting, someone downstairs yells that the police are here. Avery quickly goes out to check because it is her house. But the police call out Bird's name. Bird goes downstairs to take a look. It turns out they are looking for her. After Bird arrives at the police station, she thinks something happened to her mother. But Pembroke shakes his head. Then Pembroke tells Bird that the one who had an accident is not her mother, but her coworker Tyler. Bird looks shocked because they were just together yesterday. Seeing that Bird knows nothing, Pembroke tells her to go home and rest first. Bird returns home and tells her mother about the camera and Tyler. She picks up Tyler's photo and looks at it again. Bird returns to her room. She notices that the dark shadow is gone. She picks up Avery's photo and sees that the dark shadow is now on it. Bird quickly grabs her phone to call Avery, but on second thought, she realizes others will not believe her. Bird quickly grabs her phone to call Avery, but on second thought, she realizes others will not believe her. Then Bird turns off the light and goes to sleep. The scene cuts to Avery after she sends her guests away. Just as she is about to go to sleep, she is startled by a coat rack. She puts the rack away and goes downstairs. But as soon as she gets downstairs, she hears footsteps upstairs. She thinks someone has not left yet, so she goes upstairs to check. She walks into the living room and feels like someone is there. She turns around and the monster appears. Avery is terrified and turns to run, but she is not paying attention and bumps her head into a chandelier. She gets up and sees the monster is not chasing her, so she thinks she is safe. But the monster suddenly appears and kills her instantly. The next day, Bird gets a call from Casey while eating. She learns about Avery's death on the phone. Bird goes back to her room and picks up Avery's photo, only to notice the dark shadow is gone again. She looks at the group photo again and instantly understands everything. It turns out the dark shadow is the monster that eliminates everyone whose picture is taken. And after every kill, it moves on to the next person. Bird is furious and smashes the camera on the ground, but the camera releases a shockwave that knocks Bird right over. Now, Bird is out of options. Shortly after, Bird finds the others and tells everyone about the dark shadow. Bird says they are next, but everyone thinks Bird is crazy no matter how she explains it. None of them believe her. Devin thinks Bird is being annoying and just takes a lighter and sets the photo on fire. But as soon as it lights up, white smoke rises from Mina's hand, and then it catches on fire. Connor reacts quickly and grabs a fire extinguisher to put it out. But the fire does not die down. It turns out the photo and the people are connected. If the photo gets damaged, the people inside it take the same damage. Just then, Bird notices the photo and crouches down to put out the fire on it. The fire on Mina's hand disappears too, but she is still badly burned. Bird picks up the photo, and miraculously, it is fully restored. Then they take Mina to the hospital, and now they completely believe Bird. While discussing what to do, Connor asks Bird if there is anything else besides the camera. Bird suddenly remembers she left the camera bag behind. Then Bird goes inside alone. After going inside, she finds the bag on a shelf. Meanwhile, Connor looks at the photo and seems to discover something new. Back to Bird. While fixing her flashlight, she accidentally shines it on a monster. Bird turns around and runs, but she accidentally falls to the ground. The monster chases after her, but it seems to be afraid of the heat. It pulls its hand back as soon as it reaches out. Seeing that the monster cannot come out, Bird quickly runs towards the exit. Her clothes get stuck right as she is about to get out. Luckily, Connor shows up just in time to save her. Then the two of them run to the car and quickly leave the place. Bird is very confused about why the monster is chasing her since she is not in the photo. But Connor says she has been in that photo the whole time. Bird looks at the photo, and sure enough, she is in it. It turns out the mirror reflection caught her in the shot. Meanwhile, Mina also wakes up in the hospital. Just as the two of them are talking, the hospital's power suddenly fails. Devin goes to call a nurse, and right after he leaves, Bird calls Mina. Bird says the monster might have gone to the hospital and tells them absolutely not to go off alone. Mina panics as soon as she hears this and quickly gets out of bed to find her friend. But the medical equipment restricts her movement, and just as she pulls the curtain back, the monster appears. Devin returns to the ward and sees bloodstains on the floor. The bloodstains stop behind the curtain. He goes over and pulls the curtain back, but there is nothing inside. The moment he turns around, Mina's dead body appears. The scene cuts, and Bird and Connor also arrive back at the hospital. When they see the police, they know something happened to Mina. Devin is furious and thinks Bird caused all of this. Bird feels super guilty and sits in a corner crying. Connor comes over to comfort her. After chatting for a bit, Bird suddenly remembers the camera bag. She digs through it and actually finds a clue. They find the camera's production date. Then they go to the library and have everyone look for related news reports from that time. With their hard work, they finally find a new clue. In 1974, a man named Roland murdered 3 kids. And this Roland was actually the teacher of those 3 kids. Bird remembers the letters on the camera exactly match the initials of this man's name. So they are sure this is Roland's camera. And Roland also took photos of all 3 victims, but Roland was shot dead before being taken into custody. Then they tell the others about their new discovery. Bird thinks the monster is afraid of heat and believes it has the same properties as a photo. It is not only afraid of heat, but also afraid of light, so it can only move around in dark places. Casey also makes a new discovery, finding out that someone once took a haunted photo. The newspaper also has the address of this person named Annie. They think Annie has nothing to do with Roland, so they brush it off as a useless clue. Just then, Devin loses his temper. He wants to destroy the camera. Connor steps up to wrestle it away from him, but the two accidentally press the shutter button. They are both instantly stunned. But the weird thing is that the dark shadow actually moves onto Devin's photo. Devin panics as soon as he sees it because he does not want to die. He grabs the camera to take a picture of Bird, still blaming her for everything. Just at the critical moment, Casey stabs the photo with a pencil. Devin's hand is instantly pinned to the wooden board. When Casey pulls the pencil out, Devin's hand breaks free, leaving a hole in it. Miraculously, the photo restores itself. Devin is furious and now just wants to beat Casey up. They make too much noise, so a police officer comes over to ask what is going on. But Devin accidentally punches the police officer right in the face. Unsurprisingly, Devin gets arrested for assaulting a police officer. Bird and the others plead for him, but assaulting a police officer is a serious crime, so Pembroke refuses to let him go. Bird tells Pembroke about the camera, but he thinks they are just making up stories. When Bird mentions Roland, Pembroke's expression suddenly changes. Seeing this, the two have no other choice, so they just take the hint and leave. Just as they go downstairs to leave, Casey calls them. It turns out Annie changed her name, and her real identity is Roland's wife. Casey tells them to check out the house because there might be new clues. After hearing this, Connor immediately drives there. When the two arrive, an old woman opens the door. The old woman is unwelcoming at first, but gets interested when Bird mentions the camera. Bird asks if the camera belongs to Roland, but the old woman denies it right away. She says the camera belongs to their daughter. After going inside, they see her daughter's memorial portrait. Then the old woman starts telling her daughter's story. Their daughter, named Rebecca, had a slight intellectual disability and always lived in her own world. On her birthday, her parents gave her a camera. Rebecca loved it so much that she even took it to school. But all her classmates thought she was a weirdo. One night, 4 classmates invited her out just to bully her. They took compromising photos of Rebecca and spread them all over campus. Rebecca could not take it anymore and ended her own life. After her father Roland finds out, he kills all those kids. Later, the police arrive in time and kill Roland on the spot. Just like that, Roland dies holding the camera. The old woman also says that only 3 of the 4 kids died back then. Because the police arrived, Roland was killed before he could kill the last one. Because Roland did not kill everyone, his revenge will not stop. The old woman gives Bird a photo of the person who survived back then. After learning the truth, Connor tells Bird to leave the place immediately. Then Bird calls Casey and tells them to gather at the school. Bird also says she has figured out how to solve this. Over at the police station, the power suddenly goes out, and while Devin is confused, he sees the monster. Devin is terrified and hides behind the door. But seeing the monster is not coming, he peeks through the window. The monster simply appears behind Devin. After a scream, Devin also dies. Connor sees the dark shadow move and instantly realizes something happened to Devin. That is why he tells Bird to quickly leave the old woman's house. The scene cuts to Bird and Connor arriving at the school and heading straight for the archive room. They want to find out who the survivor from back then is. Casey also arrives and keeps calling out Bird's name, but gets no response. When Casey turns around, a figure appears. Bird compares the photos and finally finds that person from back then. It turns out that person is Pembroke. The two are deeply shocked. Just then, Pembroke finds them and grabs Casey. The one who scared Casey just now was not the monster. It was Pembroke, guys. Pembroke says they are trespassing and must leave immediately. Connor calls his bluff and demands to know if Pembroke did something shameful back then. Bird also picks up the camera, but cannot bring herself to pull the trigger. Connor grabs the camera. He snaps a photo of Pembroke. They think that if Pembroke dies, the monster will disappear. But there is a twist, and Pembroke says they are all wrong. The old woman lied to them. It was actually her father who took the compromising photos of Rebecca. That person was Roland. They took the photos to gather evidence to bring Roland to justice. But Roland found out and murdered them all to cover his tracks. The police arrive and save him. This is also why Rebecca took her own life. Just as they are talking, the school's power goes out again. Bird instantly realizes the monster is here. The monster picks up Pembroke's photo. Pembroke shoots at it without hesitation. But the bullets are useless, and the monster picks up the photo. It rips it into 2 halves. Unsurprisingly, Pembroke ends up the same way as the photo. The group turns and runs, but they end up splitting up. While running, Bird and Casey make it to the school bathhouse. Bird gets a bright idea because the monster is afraid of heat. She turns on all the faucets. She sets them all to hot water, and as the monster arrives, it lets out a painful screech the moment it touches the hot water. Finally, the monster has no choice. It slowly retreats. Bird sees the monster leave and tells Casey to stay there while she goes out to find Connor. As she walks, she is suddenly pulled over by Connor. They look at the photo and come up with a plan. Bird gets another idea. She says they have to get that camera back. Then they will lure the monster to the place where it died. Once they finish talking, they start moving. Just as Connor picks up the camera, the monster grabs him and pulls him away. Bird picks up the camera and snaps a photo of herself. The monster lets Connor go, and as soon as Bird sees the dark shadow, she gets up and runs for her life. The monster lets Connor go, and as soon as Bird sees the dark shadow, she gets up and runs for her life. But she trips and falls while running. The camera flies away to one side. Bird stands up and realizes this is the exact murder scene where Roland died. Just as she is about to pick up the camera, the monster appears and grabs her by the throat. Bird takes the opportunity to snap a photo of the monster. The monster is in pain and lets Bird go. Bird looks at the photo and yells at the monster, "Go to hell!" Then Bird grips the photo tight. The monster's body keeps folding in on itself. Bird's hand starts bending too, because her hand is also in the photo. The monster turns into a ball of flesh, but it is not dead yet and keeps crawling toward her. Out of options, Bird decides to use her ultimate move. She grabs her lighter and starts burning the photo. At the critical moment, she manages to set the photo on fire. The monster's body starts burning too. Bird's hand catches on fire, but she grits her teeth and holds on. Finally, the monster turns into ashes. As soon as Bird comes out of the basement, she runs into Connor and Casey. Then the group looks at the photo. They notice the dark shadow is finally gone. In the end, Bird goes to the beach alone. She throws the camera into the ocean. See you next time.